Hey, so following on from the videos that I did last week, I just wanted to let you know that now all of the workbooks for the June Reset Challenge are available for free to download from the website. So make sure you have a look at that and just make use of it because there's so many useful tools in there which you can just download and keep for yourself. But I wanted to follow up on some of the points that I've had some responses to and to kind of give you a bit of clarity on it. So, with the framework that I use, I call it the North Star framework. It's kind of compiled of 10 steps which are non-linear. Okay, I just want to make that clear because all of this is available now for you to have a look at. Um, the framework is sort of quite straightforward, but it can, I think, I'm having questions about how, if somebody were to work with me, is it that, it would be each step would be a session. And I just want to make the point that these steps are not a kind of consecutive approach. The way that I have framed this is really you break it down into kind of three main parts. And so the first part is about getting clarity, which is the bit that's very often overlooked in traditional coaching, but also the fact that women are very rarely asked, what do you want? So this needs to be a piece of work on its own. So that's the first part. The second part is the bit which I call finding your values driven purpose. So that's where you are tapping into authenticity and purpose and really understanding what your values are, being able to explore them, name them, define them, kind of get into the detail of them can be a really powerful way of making that sort of a statement to yourself, but also an external statement to the world as well. And then the final part is really about okay, so once you've done these two important pieces of work and you're clear that this is your North Star, this is your direction, how do I stay on track? Because again, there's not much attention paid to this in sort of traditional coaching methods because it's just sort of assumed that you already have a goal, you just need to really work out how you're going to get there and you keep going. But the reality is that actually keeping going is difficult. It's not that easy, especially when you're facing different setbacks. And I've talked about this before, the idea that modern coaching comes from a place of all things being equal. So it looks at it from the perspective of if you were a cisgender white man who is likely to face less adversity, then you just carry on in that direction and you deal with it as you go. Whereas for everybody else, it's not that easy. We are going to face, I was going to say diversity, adversity, and discrimination. In which case, we need to have some tools available to us so that we can make sense of it and find a way to carry on. And this is where, for women in particular, we are looking at challenging imposter syndrome, negative self beliefs, really getting into the trenches of it, really kind of, as my favourite Brene Brown would say, rumbling with vulnerability, because we need to get to the core of what we're doing and how we make sense of challenge. So where the checking in aspect has come from, that has had a really interesting response from people. People are really interested in this approach of checking in because this, in my opinion, is vital to women being able to make progress, because checking in is actually an integral part of cognitive behavioural therapy. And the premise behind it is really as a way of, it's quite directional because it's actually trying to persuade the client, the coachee, the person who's the focus, that what they are thinking or feeling is skewed to be negative and therefore it is an incorrect assessment of reality. And this is something that I've been conscious of for a long time, working in the sector and in mental health, but also this is something that I am aware has come up with clinicians in particular. How We Break by Ian Deering talks about this as well. And he really emphasizes how CBT is great, again, if it is applied to somebody who doesn't have to face multiple discrimination or adversity. But the reality is that, lots of us do, in which case these concerns are real. So as women, we are more likely to be fired than a man. We're more likely to go to prison for the same offence that a man commits. These things are real, but the way that we can explore it, identify and deal with it is to be able to look at it in the context of ourselves. How does it apply to us? How does it apply to my history? Have I been through something like this similarly before? What is actually at play here? What are the real factors that I have to deal with? What's internal? What's external? And getting clarity on what that actually looks like. What are the factors that are at play? And what is within our control to deal with it? So I just wanted to make that point around working to the North Star framework. The June Reset Challenge is a real kind of springboard into this framework, but it's non-linear. It's not like you follow the steps. Anyway, have a look at my article in Brains magazine, which is all about how to find your North Star and work towards authenticity and purpose. And that has a breakdown of it, which I think you'll find useful. And for more tools, just have a look at my website, www.catherineskinner.org. Okay, that's it from me today. I will see you again soon. Bye.